there was a girl who came to us who was not convinced of the arranged marriage, this match that her parents had arranged for. So she wanted like evidences against him. Now, when we did the investigation, nothing really came out. He was actually a decent guy. So, she was disappointed. But I told her, I was like, I can only give you the facts. I can't manipulate reality.
Please cheating. Please have 8 girlfriends. Hi guys, welcome back to Moment of Silence Pod. I'm Sakshi Shivdasani.
I'm Naina.
And I'm Tanya Puri.
Welcome to the pod.
you.
For those who don't know, Tanya is the youngest detective in India and she does a lot of marital cases and she has a lot of interesting stories. And I'm very, very excited. Thank you for being with us in this festive season.
Yes. It's a heavy one, but I'm so glad I'm here and I'm ready to share some really interesting stories with you.
Is this the most hectic time of the year for you?
It is, because it is the wedding season, and we have a lot of parents and a lot of youngsters themselves, I mean, our age, who are coming and they want to get investigation done on their to-be partner. So it is one of the most hectic ones, actually.
Is there any, I feel like if I was hiring someone to suss out my partner and they weren't doing something shady, I would feel crazy.
No, but I feel that now it's become a trend. In fact, I mean, 90% of my work is premarital cases now, because I feel like women are going, ahead with this, because it's like self-preservation for them. It's like ensuring that no fuck-ups happen, and, at least they know most of it, and they're not just going in it just because blind, and just because they're in love. They want to have some sort of background check done, so that even when they've known somebody for so long, they just feel that marriage is such a big step and families get involved, so it's just better for them to have more information.
So walk us through a typical client that would come into the office. Do they come with their parents? Do they overshare? How do they also evolve in their relationship with you?
I think I get a lot of people who come by themselves. They don't come with their parents, and they basically share a lot of background first. They tell me exactly what they feel is going wrong, and why they want. I think a lot of them come with this inhibition. They're scared, they feel judged themselves, but I have to make them comfortable and make them understand that this is really a no judgment zone, and I understand why they want to get something. And then they'll obviously, we have a lot of conversation. I will never take up a case just because somebody would come and say that I want an investigation on XYZ person. I need to understand what kind of relationship have they had, and is it even valid? Would it help them? So that's how it is, mostly premarital, and then a little percentage of postmarital cases as well, where wives or husbands would feel that their partners have cheated on each other or something of that sort.
Would you go to a private investigator before your wedding?
So I feel like there's a lot of, again, like you said, judgment around it. I would feel a little bit crazy, like why am I doubting this person and everything. But if I had a suspicion, rather than like go snooping myself, and I do actually pride myself on being a little bit of a detective, not as good, in case anyone was confused about that. But definitely, like, when like some things are sus, like I know a lot of my friends that have had like if they had found out things like 6 months earlier, they would have avoided a lot of jamela. Yeah.
And so many times it's not even about suspicion. It is about these basic things that people just miss. They have, I mean, I'm not saying you have to be clones of each other if you're going to get married. Of course you will not be, but there has to be a certain degree of lifestyle being similar. Like, there's somebody who likes to, let's say, live a certain kind of life, and their partner lives just an opposite life that they won't even be able to kind of gel in and be a part of. They don't see all those things. They don't see the behavior patterns. They don't see temperament. They don't see such things. So when they come to us for investigation, we also get into all these aspects. And I always tell them that it's about the present. Stop harping about what was in the past, who were they dating in the past, which relationship was it. A lot of people come with that perspective, and I have to tell them that it really does not matter. It does not matter who they were in the past as much as it matters about them being this kind of person in the present. I don't I mean, I feel that when you're getting married to someone, it's so important to like assess their behavior patterns, habits,
Yeah.
lifestyle, all of these things which people would probably miss. And a lot of families would just say financial or education details, verify kar do, that's it, which is not what it
Oh,
is.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And is it mainly like when people are getting arranged marriage, or do
Yeah, the percentage is higher in arranged marriages because people are very unsure of what they're getting into. They've just
yeah.
met a couple of times, and obviously, a lot of people want to have a very curated image at that time. They want to show the good parts. They will not talk about a lot of things that they faced or are facing. So, in love marriages, also, though surprisingly, I mean, I would expect that the cases would not be so much, but there are. There have been people who've been together for about 7, 8 years as well, but the girl or the boy have had some sort of gut feeling, in their head
Yeah.
and in their mind, and they would just not ignore it for many, many years. And now, when it's time to get married, they know that they need to address it, so they come to us.
And
I wonder if it's a function of, say, Indian families where you cannot have a conversation. Like,
Yeah.
people don't let you have a straight conversation.
Yeah.
If you want to say straight, I don't think this relationship is working for me. Your parents are like, why? He's so nice. He does this. He
Yeah.
does
his
that.
finances match.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a
So,
lot of
And he's so kind and all of that. They say all of those things, but I feel eventually, again, it's really not about families. In India, there's this projection that you're not just getting married to the person, but to the families. That's not the truth. Eventually, it is about you and the person. And when cracks appear or when things don't work out, it always starts with you and that person.
yeah.
And then it probably goes.
but I do feel like sometimes maybe is it that people come to you because they need like hardcore evidence to just say a simple no?
I think a lot of young people want to show it to their parents. So when they do come to us, there was a girl who came to us who was not convinced of the arranged marriage, this match that her parents had arranged for. So she wanted like evidences against him. Now, when we did the investigation, nothing really came out. He was actually a decent guy. So, she was disappointed. But I told her, I was like, I can only give you the facts. I can't manipulate reality.
Please be cheating. Please have 8 girlfriends.
So eventually, it has to be about us giving facts out. Now,
Yeah.
sometimes it works for people and sometimes it does not.
And how long do you have to investigate like how much time before you can find out info?
So there are different processes, and one of them would take typically there's a background check that we do from third party sources, from close sources of the person who we are.
Just like cold
No,
call.
no. So
Oh.
we have a rigorous process, and we take about 25-30 days for it to, it's not something like we just go and we say कि ये कैसा बंदा है आप बता दो. We don't do that.
Like passport
yeah.
verification.
So we don't do that, but that again we check about the person's social reputations and their lifestyle and habits and personality traits, characteristics. We verify that, and we always tell people that it is close, the correctness would be close to 70-80%. It cannot be 100%. But then we also monitor their outdoor activities. Some people want that. They want that we monitor somebody's activities to see where they're going, who they're meeting, and what are the kind of places they like to go to, because they're in different cities, they've not met yet. So they want to know all of these things. That would typically take somewhere around minimum 7 days, can go up to a month as well. So that's usually the process.
My first introduction to like actual PIs being a real life thing and not just something I saw in the movies was when I was in Ahmedabad. I was studying there, and it was the first time I had found out that during Garba time, a lot of parents set PIs behind their kids just to
too.
find out what they're up to. And I was shaken. Like,
Yeah.
and I had never known of, say, policing in that way. Like, I know my parents might be super strict, but they will never reach a point of wanting to send a professional to
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
what I'm up to.
That's also probably because you've had that kind of communication with them. Maybe a lot of parents who come to us, I mean, they don't have that communication with their kids. They don't see any other way. So recently we got a case where it was a premarital case, and the guy appeared perfect on paper, great education, earning good money, all of that, and he would actually be into a lot of donations and puja part aarti. So the parents are very convinced, but the girl said that I find something fishy about him because every day, especially during this Navratri time, I'm talking last year. So he vanishes around 7, 8 p.m. and he says that no, I have to go at one of these events. We actually investigated that guy, and he was meeting his ex-girlfriend every
Oh.
day on during that time, but he was also hiding from his ex-girlfriend that he's already in a live-in relationship with another girl. So there were three girls at a time. One was the ex, one was the present who he was in a live-in relationship with, and the third was this girl who,
Oh, she
his,
was the third
yeah,
one.
She
so
was.
she was the third
Oh,
one. So
I
the
got the
parents,
two
no, so
people.
there were three.
And he used to earn good money, meaning he had time to do a job also.
Yeah, and he would actually take money from this ex-girlfriend on the pretext of I'm not doing so well and I need money, and he would use that money, give gifts to the girl who he was living in
Stop.
with and this girl. So yes,
And
it
then
was, yeah.
that's insane.
Yeah.
In that case, do you inform the other girls also or just
Yeah,
your
eventually
client?
they did get to know, and because when our job was to inform the client, she ended up reaching the other
Of
two,
course.
and yeah, it
Of
was like a
course.
full banda photo, dramatic situation that happened.
So we talk about this often, which is that, like a lot of, say, quote unquote, independent women can be big traps for financial abuse,
Yeah.
and they don't
Romance scams.
romance scams. You don't see
Yeah.
it coming. Is there some way you can help us kind of make the women who are watching this podcast a little like smarter for it?
I feel that when they're in a position of power and they have a lot of money, while some women may think that it's not, fair to be so suspicious, but I feel that men do it all the time, when they have money, and then women are called gold diggers so easily, right? So I think when it's the other way around, when you have money, just be more alert, right? I think it has to be about the guy's, intentions around your money. Like there was a case that came to us where the guy was using this girl's credit card for everything. He was funding everything in his life because he was basically in a job, but he quit shortly after
Okay.
they were together. And in fact, what we got to know was that his intention all along was that, he eventually got around with this girl. They were at the same workplace. He actually got around with this girl because he was interested in the money that she was making, and she kind of did not realize that it's okay sharing certain expenses and doing some expenses for each other when you're in a relationship. It's normal. But I feel that he was constantly only living on her money. So I think that, and then the inconsistency in his stories, he would say that I've spent it here and this. He would just probably get one small thing for her, but the rest of the things, the girl had no idea where the money was going. It was actually going to another girl. He was cheating on her.
This whole idea of gold digger, right? It's firstly, when there's a financial abuse situation happening with a man who's taking advantage of a woman, one, when is it right to call this guy a gold digger? And two, I feel like women get so gaslit so easily in a financial abuse situation because
Yeah. Because you feel guilty for having more money
Yeah,
anyway as
yeah.
like a woman.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh,
You're
I'm being
overcompensating.
Yeah.
A lot of times you're like, it's okay, had I been in his position, he would have also done the same for me. Like a lot of women say that, and they would end up doing more and more. But I feel that in any scenario, whether money is involved or not, like emotional disconnect is the first thing that you got to understand as a sign that when you start feeling that, like I feel like there's time to introspect and understand like what's happening and basically investigate the relationship.
So you're saying like when you feel your partner emotionally pulling away,
Yeah.
they're not being as responsive.
Yeah, it is definitely. I mean, I'll tell you something. I think for women mostly who come to me, especially, first sign why they would come to me or they have that gut feeling is this emotional disconnect. Physical intimacy, everything comes in much later. It's
Yeah.
what they start feeling when they're in the same room or sitting together. And with this guy in particular, like who I just spoke about, he also didn't introduce her to his friends and hid so many parts of his own life, and fabricated stories. They were never like, he could never just connect the dots. He was always very fishy about details. So I feel that she missed out on a lot because she had that thing in her that it's okay, I'm a woman, and I have to be the giver. Like she was of that nature. When she came to us, she told me that. So I think a lot of women end up missing these small details because of the conditioning.
And why do they feel more comfortable invoicing you for this and not listening to their female best friends?
Yeah, because they feel that their female best friends are against the guy. In their heart, they know it, that they're going to get a reality check from their best friends. They wouldn't like it, and they would probably abandon the best friend somewhere
Yeah.
and, go ahead with the guy. That relationship, though the friendship is soured, and they'll not probably, be as good friends.
I guess there's also some sort of hope that you come out and be like, okay, don't
Yeah.
worry, this is your insecurity.
Yeah.
But okay, say there's a situation where like someone has hired you and the guy is clean or the girl is clean.
Right.
Do they still tell their partner, and how does the partner react in that situation?
So one of them broke up, like,
course, yeah.
I mean, but there are so many who would not, because I think they just feel that it's okay, you got what you wanted to check. Now are we good? A lot of like relationships have been, but a few of them, yeah, I mean, they've not liked it. In fact, I always tell my clients that don't tell them, it's okay. Like if you went ahead with this because you had a doubt and now you've been proven wrong, don't discuss it, because it will eventually like take the trust factor away from the other side. They would
Yeah.
feel that, why couldn't you come and talk to me? Why did you have to go to an investigator? But you did for your reasons. And I feel that you now feel settled, you feel at peace, so now just let that be.
Fair, yeah.
I don't think I'd be able to, like, if I had to see my partner after that every day, that's all I would be thinking about.
I'm a big bucket. Like I have to say everything. So that's why, like, I mean, but I get it. Like, if someone told me that they hired a PI
Yeah.
on me, I would be like, that's weird.
That's probably what you'll be thinking every time you look at their face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you hired a PI.
I mean, I feel like if you hire a PI and they come out clean, the same thing, I feel like I would fall more in love with the person. कि मैं तो हूँ पागल.
Which is what happened, right? With so many people, like I'm saying, they go back to being just as happy, because
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that was just my doubt, and this guy is actually clean. There's nothing wrong.
Listen, if you're ever running an emotional Atyachaar type of format, we're
We
happy
do
to
it.
help you.
We do it. We
Oh, yeah?
actually do undercovers.
Like sting operations.
Yeah, we do it. Yeah. So, in fact, like one of the guys, who he was involved with his maid, and the wife had a doubt, So he would go to the maid's house and he would come out, and so we got the photos, we got videos of them being together. But she wanted to see what it is like with if he is like that with other women as well. And so she made us plant, a woman who was much younger, and he actually was involved with her as well. He couldn't really hold on to that temptation. She was like half the age, and he did go ahead, and they would go to hotel rooms, and we got the proof. And so, yeah, I mean, there was wives to do that.
How do you hire for this
Yeah.
role?
I think the process is pretty similar for any kind of hiring that we do.
Yeah.
But we have to train this person extensively, rather than, I mean, other investigators would be on field, their work is different. But with this person, I think the training goes up to about 6 months. We have to make them understand the other person's life, because you have to seamlessly blend into that
Integrate,
person's life, right? So there are people who are fresh out of college also who've come to us. It doesn't matter what education or what, and so, yeah, you can actually become an undercover if you want to.
Hey, man.
But how far as an undercover did she have to go?
Do you have to be like, first rule of undercover, don't fall in love?
I think when they sign up for it, they do sign up for pretty much anything that could come along with it, but
Yeah.
they have their own personal boundaries, after which, the call is theirs. Yes, the call is theirs. So when they, unfortunately, like, when they're in this and they have to be this temptress to the other
Yeah.
person, I'm sure there are certain boundaries that are blurred for them, but they give into this knowing what they're stepping into. So yeah.
And like, have you all been watching that, like, उसको pregnancy की pills खिलाई है,
Wow,
shampoo,
shampoo,
wow.
wow.
Like, does the confrontation happen like that? Like, where like the temptress and the partner in a hotel room and the
Yeah.
wife walks in, that's the
Yeah,
confrontation.
so when it is an undercover, it is that you catch them red-handed,
Yeah.
because of so basically even before it reaches the place where maybe boundaries are blurred, things are
Yeah.
already informed to the partner and she reaches. So yeah, it is a dramatic situation at that time,
That's
And
and there
wild.
is a lot of
yeah, and you have to be there.
yeah, I mean, I mean, I do reach if the client requires me to, but otherwise, yeah, my team of investigators who do this, they inform us, and then we have to inform the client, and then they reach. But yes, I've been a part of 2 or 3 actual confrontations that have happened, and they've been very dramatic, obviously,
Yeah.
very real for them.
Yeah, because honestly, all the podcasts that I've watched you on, you've been telling these anecdotes. It's like the first one, I'm like, haha, that's crazy. Third one,
Yeah.
by the fourth one, I'm like, oh my god, this is someone's life. This
Yeah.
is like, of course, it's like you love that dinner table gossip session. I'm sure you're like the best dinner table guest because
Yeah,
everyone's
I'm a
like,
good
batao.
conversation starter at
Yeah,
parties if people want to
Yeah.
know. But
yeah.
ultimately, what I deal with at work, when we have to tell them the truth, it's been a process. Earlier it was very emotional and like for me as well, because I was still learning the ropes of the industry. But now, of course, I feel for them, but I'm not directly involved emotionally, because then I would have a lens of judgment, and I don't
Yeah.
want to have that. So which is why they come to me as well, right? Like, because they
Yeah.
know that I'll not judge or I'll not be biased in that situation. So yeah, and it is pretty sad when it actually comes down
Yeah.
to confronting it.
You did say that like someone's past doesn't matter, but like say if I came to you and I was like, okay, I'm getting married to this
Yeah.
person, his last marriage broke up under a suspicious circumstance.
Yeah.
Is that something you are willing to like get into in terms of?
Yes, but I also always tell them that when we are actually investigating them in the present, a
Yeah.
lot of their patterns that we figure, we say that, one of the possible reasons could be that you cannot actually go back to the past and figure out what actually happened,
Yeah.
between the two people. But the patterns are always there. People don't just change just because now they're getting into a second kind relationship, or they're getting married again. There are certain things that they will have in them that stay from who they were in the past. It's
Yeah.
upon them how much they work on it, what and how do they actually have worked on it, or are they the same people. So I feel that when we're investigating the present is what I always tell them, that this probably could be one of the reasons. I cannot tell you definitely what it was, but this probably could be. And that's how they assess the situation. And
Yeah.
I always say that if you actually want to know what was the real cause, then just sit across the table and have a conversation. You don't even have to like come
Yeah.
to me for that, or you don't need me to get to know exactly why someone's relationship did not work in the past.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'll tell you why I'm asking. So basically, I have this like a friend of a friend. Okay. She met this guy, they dated for a couple of years. He was married for like 6 months before. And that's why her parents were a little bit reluctant to go in with this wedding. And he was also like, some finances weren't matching and all of that. But she was like, been with him for 2 years.
Adamant.
I
Yeah.
really like him. And she married him. Now, within 6 months, she was traveling somewhere, and her parents and them, they like the house staff would alternate between their houses. So the house staff started refusing to go to the daughter's house when she wasn't in town. Okay, but then one day, like she wasn't in town for like 15 days. So the mom was like, please go. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not understanding what this is. So that time the house staff opened up and she was like, actually, whenever Didi is not at home, this man walks around naked, jerking off to us. And then she came and confronted him and all, and he was like, I swear I don't even remember this. Like, they're lying. And then she was like, she asked his parents, and that is the reason his previous marriage broke up.
Because we run this podcast and we're constantly kind of in jokes like male bashing, etc. Just by function, just by function of how often we do it. Sometimes this kind of bleeds into my personal life, and I'm sure it bleeds into your
Yeah.
personal life. So
Yeah.
I wonder, your husband's a lawyer,
Yeah.
you're a private investigator.
Yeah.
How do these things bleed into your own life, and how do you keep yourself safe?
Honestly, I've become even more transparent. I'm not like scared to talk about anything. I have just whatever I feel, I just blurt it out. I'm like, yeah, I just want to know what you think. Tell me right now. And even if he doesn't want to, I'm like, no, I'm giving you 10 minutes, but you tell me what you think. And we are going to have a conversation. So I've become that person who always wants to have a conversation, because so many people who come to me haven't had any conversation. They've not had that transparency between them. They're just feeling things over like such a long period of time, putting things under the carpet, not talking about it.
Was there a case that after you saw it to its completion, you came home and you just hugged your husband? You were like, dude, this is just, I'm so happy to have you.
Yeah. So there was actually a case where, the father came to us and he said that my boy is involved with this girl, and everything seems okay, but she's not somebody who's very transparent with us, and we doubt that something's going on. We did further investigation and we found out that everything that she had done, it was basically a scam. She was her family wasn't real. Nothing that they had said or they were doing was real. She had a fake father, fake mother, fake brother, and the brother was even involved in like molestation. He had charges on him. So it was so complicated, and I hadn't expected that something like that would even happen.
Yeah.
That eventually, like, we got to know that she goes till the end of the case and then she just breaks off marriages. She gets all the gifts that she has to, gets the money, whatever, in like exchange of the courtship period, and then she breaks it off. That when we told the guy, and the family the truth, they were obviously shaken, because he was madly in love with her and he was with her for the last 2 years. So after giving that piece of information to their family, I just came back home and I said, whatever and however your family is, you guys are the best. So I said, it is, thank you for the honesty, and this is the bare minimum, right? You expect
Yeah.
your partner to be honest, but I was like,
Yeah.
thank you.
Not have a
You
fake
yeah,
family.
yeah.
But 2
You know?
years she continued
Yeah.
it. The family was very rich.
The family, as in the boys'
The
family,
boys'
yes.
family.
They were
Okay.
from a very influential family.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
Is it worse to be married to a perv or worse to be married to someone trying to cheat and failing?
I think it's worse to be married to a perv.
That's fair.
You will just never get where you want to get in that relationship, because
Yeah.
I have to share one case
Please,
here.
yes.
There was a guy who was this girl was married to him. They were married for about 6 months, and he was very abusive towards her. Wasn't they had constant fights, and he would just leave home and he would say, I'm going to this. They had a holiday home in Kasoli, so he would say, I'm just going there. And that's how the relationship was going. Eventually she thought that he was perhaps cheating on her, and she hired us. And we saw that he was going to these spas in Gurgaon, and he would bring a different woman home. He had 2 homes, so in his other house he would take a woman from there and he would take her home. So one of the days the wife caught him and they were naked. She opened the door and they were in bed, and the first thing that he said was, baby, I just wanted to cuddle with her because, like, we've not had that since so long. And then she got to know that over time he had actually gone to so many hotels and with different women, and he was just addicted to sex. That's all. Like, he wasn't he just wanted to do that, and he was not in love with her, nothing of that sort. He just got married because at that point she said that she's in love with him, and he agreed and they married. But he was actually sleeping with different women almost every second day. But yeah, he was just cuddling. That's what he
He
said.
was just
He was
cuddling.
just cuddling.
That's almost
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
Huh?
So what? Why? Okay, now all of this is happening, okay,
Yeah.
but there's still this chokehold of like shadi and this perfect family
Yeah.
in this country where people see crazy red flags, but they're still like, okay, let's jump into the
People
next thing.
actually hide so many things because of that family pressure.
Yeah.
There was a boy who was actually interested in he had a same-sex relationship while he was in college, but he was dating this another girl for over 4 years, and the girl never got to know, and he was dating, but his parents, the boy's parents knew, they all knew, but they just could not, I mean, the guy could not even speak up to the girl honestly. He was about to get married to her, but he could not, because he said that my father just wouldn't allow that. It's only when we investigated we found out that he was actually interested in him, and he had planned to continue that relationship, because he said, that's who I am, I cannot fall in love with you just like that. But there was this whole curated plan, for the other family, that they should just never get to know because of the societal pressure and expectation. So a lot of people, not that I'm justifying why people lie, but I feel like in premarital cases specifically, a lot of people end up saying so many lies just because the parents just don't want things to come out in the open.
Yeah, I also think that, like, my hot take is that most people don't really want to get married. They just want to live by themselves. And then
Yeah.
you think that you're moving from a less like strict setup to a
Like where
more
you are
strict setup
suddenly
to a less
the person running the house.
Yeah.
but then you're stuck in another
Yeah.
entrapment.
And it happens with people who have a lot of money as well, and a lot of, like, it's not just happening with, let's say, middle class people, where
Yeah.
women are probably trained to go to another house and say, oh, this is your house. All of that is not there. There was a very famous Bhojpuri actress who was actually involved with another man. And it was a very open secret in the industry. She would go out for vacations, she would go party, they would go spend all this time together with each other. But for the public, she decided to get married to somebody else because, of the name, and because her parents wanted her to get married to that person. So it's there that, in
society.
any strata of society, like, I think this pressure to look a certain way, to have this perfect relationship, and
Yeah.
it's there. So a lot of people do it for that.
If someone want to hire you to hide stuff, is that also something, like, in the sense that, like, if I'm getting arranged
Yeah.
marriage and I know that the samne wala is hiring
Yeah.
like a PI on
Yeah.
me, can I hire you to be like, how do I stop XYZ from getting found out?
Actually, no, because then I feel that we're playing into, I mean, we're getting into, we're fabricating things and we're manipulating
Yeah.
things. So we try not to do that. And,
Okay.
that's something that we strictly say no to. And that's not our protocol. So we don't do it. But I feel that for me, my kind of work is always this, that whatever the fact is, I'll bring it out to you, whether you like it or not. This is what I'm going to get out.
Okay. And are there any other strict no's that you definitely don't touch?
Yeah, so we don't do anything with phones. We don't do anything. Yeah, there are no phone details, phone records, or any chats that we can, find out for someone. It's mostly physical surveillance that we do, and we do background checks for people.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if, say, like parents, like Naina was saying, during Garba hire you and you think the children are not actually doing anything
Yeah.
wrong,
Yeah.
is that still something you like try to explain to the parents, or do you not report it, or?
No, we report everything.
Okay.
And we tell them that this was their routine. Now, of course, there could be multiple things. If people have hired us for a period of 7 days, maybe for those 7 days, the child's not doing anything, They're actually involved somewhere, but they're
Yeah.
not going around in those 7 days, but they could later. So that's obviously a risk a lot of people take. And we tell them before we take on the case, that you either take it for a longer period of time if you want to increase the
Yeah.
probability, or you then believe what we are telling you, because nothing happened these 7 days.
Right, but what if it's like, say, the parents have hired someone because she's in a relation, they suspect their daughter's in a relationship
Yeah.
they don't approve of,
Yeah.
but actually it's just like the parents are regressive. So reporting that, do you think that the daughter will get into trouble that is not warranted?
See, if it is a client who has come to us, we have to talk
Yeah,
to
of
them. So
course.
now, of course, after that, whatever equation they share at home is not something we can take full control of.
Right.
But my end, I always, if I do feel, again, because I'm not looking at it from a judgmental lens, so I always tell them that, all this is fine about this guy
Yeah.
that you have certain inhibitions about. Why don't you again talk about it? I feel a lot of people wouldn't have to come to me also, if they would just have certain parameters, certain checks clear in their head already. A lot of people end up missing so many things just
Yeah.
because they're in love, or they just want the relationship to succeed.
In this current day and age, any app can be turned into an avenue to cheat on someone.
Yeah.
Is my personal belief.
LinkedIn,
Yeah.
Zomato.
Yes, there was fabricated. A PR was hired for this boy who actually made him look like, a very high position, like senior management in a company. He was not. He was sitting at home, like jobless.
Yeah.
But they did that. They did that on his LinkedIn and his social media. Like he actually paid one of the clubs to look like he's living a great life and
Oh.
everything. He had this membership, and he just paid them that I need to click such certain pictures, and he posted all of that. A proper firm was hired for him. And yes, I mean, we got to know because the girl's family hired us. Had they not hired us, she wouldn't gotten married to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane. Again, in this situation, can you help, like, maybe give like 5 tips of how women can keep themselves like digitally vigilant?
I feel like if somebody other than this person who you're probably interested in, and it's a mutual relationship, if they're constantly commenting and liking on your photos, and constantly keeping an eye on any kind of update you're giving, and they're the first person to be like first comment, and like or just, I mean, liking all of them, sending you DMs, obviously, like
Unemployed.
yeah, just, I mean, that's somebody you need to steer clear of. And other than that, I feel again a lot of it comes down to what they say and how they talk about it. If they're very inconsistent about it, then that you don't, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what you asked, right? Like socially, what should they be
Yeah,
looking
because
at?
I think the first temptation, I'm not speaking for myself, but the first temptation of like, if you think your partner's doing something, is to like go through their phone,
Yeah.
is to check their DMs.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know where you stand on passwords and things like that in your own personal relationship,
Yeah.
but do you think that that's okay to do that kind of housekeeping?
See, I feel that you got to have your own like individuality.
Yeah.
And you need to have your own private lives. Of course, you don't have to tell your partner or somebody who you're with about every single conversation you've had with your girlfriend or somebody who's close to you. But I'm personally like, I don't keep my password to myself. My husband knows mine, I know his, because we don't usually check, but we just know. So I feel like if somebody's trying phone, being suspicious around one's phone is actually one of the first giveaways of somebody probably not being very loyal to you. Like
Yeah.
if you're too fiercely protective of your phone, then something's
Up.
up.
Up,
You got to,
yeah.
yeah. And I think that's the first giveaway, like when it is about cheating. Other than that, again, I feel like it's mostly about telling you certain things and doing something else. So we catch a lot of people who will be saying that, okay, I'm just having a longer shift at work, but they're actually going around and meeting other people. And one of the couples who were together, I mean, they were together for very long, and similar thing, the wife would say that I have this work and that work, I'll be coming home late. She would go to a place, and we saw that there were a lot of women there, and she was actually running an escort agency. She was the head of that agency. She was actually supplying women to other men of these people. This was a case in the UK, and she was actually doing it for men in Dubai and India who would come there. She was a rich industrialist's wife there, but she still had this something to,
Side hustle.
yeah, I mean, yeah, side gig. So yeah, it was there. So yeah, I feel like that has to be, you have to check that.
I know someone that got caught cheating because like his DMs were clean, his WhatsApp chats were clean. My friend caught him based on the saved addresses on his Blinkit.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because she was
He
like,
was
what
sending
address
yeah,
is this? And
yeah,
she realized that one of her friends lived at that address.
yeah. Oh,
And
wow.
then she caught him cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are in festive season. All the couples are going out. Some couples are suspicious within their relationships. What's a good DIY bait this festive season that one can do to figure out if our partner is cheating on us?
Partner.
Yeah, if someone's
I
partner
mean,
is cheating on
asking
us.
for our audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just to-
get that. Yeah.
Drag my own relationship
For no reason.
for no reason. I was trying to be one with the people.
The people.
I think just if you have a doubt in your mind. If you have a gut feeling that says something's wrong, just come to me. That's all I'll
So
say.
fair.
yeah.
How do we hire you though?
All my details are on my website. You can, call me, you can email me, you can WhatsApp me. I'll be responsive everywhere. And then you have to just discuss your case's background, and then just tell me what is it that you require.
Yeah.
And I need all details from you, like the basic details, and then we just start the work.
And is it like a splurge to hire you? Does someone need to budget that
It is a
separately?
process that could be relatively expensive for sure, but it starts from as much as maybe 25,000, but
Okay.
it could go up to 5 to 6 lakhs.
And if you find out any illegal or criminal activity,
Yeah.
what is your like? Do you have to report it? Do you just like
No, anything that comes about, we have to report it
to
to the client.
And what about authorities? Like if you find out someone's a murderer?
Yeah, so it
It's
has
possible.
actually happened. It
Yeah.
has actually happened. A girl who had murdered, it was a very big case also that had come about from Agra. She had murdered her father and her brother for money, and she was the one getting married to this family who had come to us.
Yeah.
So when we actually, and she was under a completely different name, like, so she was not that same person. So we got to know all of that, and of course there were police complaints against her and things like that. So we did figure that out, and we got the police involved, and we told the clients, because that was what we had to do. So yeah, we do involve them when it
Okay.
yeah, when it comes to that. Otherwise, police and us, we work very differently. Yeah,
Parallelly.
we are not intertwined. We don't have similar work, because nobody will go to police for their personal investigation. My husband's cheating on me, so they
Yeah.
come to us.
It is a crime in India though, right?
Not anymore.
We took a little break and we are back now in conversation with Tanya, who is making all my gossipy bitch dreams come true. So thank you so much, Tanya. I'm having the best
Pleasure.
time. Please tell me more about how other people's lives are fucked
Fucked up.
up and
Yeah,
you
I
have
could
to
I could probably
uncover.
start like a Reddit thread, right? A
Yeah.
Reddit page. Like I
an
think that'll
ask
be
me anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I genuinely, obviously, as you grow older and older, you realize that, like, just the nature of human fabric is so flawed.
Yeah.
Do you think there are two kinds of people in the world, or does it take all kinds of deviancy to make this world?
I think it's all about the mindset. You could be a man, woman, rich, poor, whatever. But if your mindset allows you to cheat or to be unfair to somebody, you will do that. I feel that a lot of places, like, when cases come to us, sometimes they would come from a certain strata, and sometimes, they'd be extremely rich. Sometimes people would not be. But the most common thing is that they did not have anything in their mind telling them to stop. They just went ahead with it. There are, of course, like, causes, so you could justify someone's behavior, saying that they weren't happy here or they weren't getting their expectations met. But if it is a pattern, which it mostly is for people, then you know that it's a decision. It's not something that's, so there are, varied people, but people who cheat or are unfaithful have a common mindset,
Yeah.
I feel.
I have a take,
for
which
it.
is that I feel like if you think you're doing the wrong thing,
Yeah.
then karma gets you. But if you don't think that you're doing the wrong thing and you're exhibiting shitty behavior, that you kind of become like absolved of the
Only
karma.
until the truth is, like, only until you're caught, it's that. So these people, they would probably keep going on because they feel confident in their skills, and they
Yeah.
feel like they can cheat and they can do and nobody's getting to know. But it does get to them, and I feel that now people are a lot, you won't believe, but women who've not, they won't even think, that they could actually approach a detective. They're so timid, and they'll come and they're so afraid of approaching me. But they do come because they say, no, we have a feeling that this man has been cheating on us for so long. And for some women, it's been such a pattern, the man has been cheating on them since they got married or since they've been together. They know of it, but now they say it's enough and we need proofs. And, that's where I think the game's over for the other people.
Say if she decides to go through with a divorce, can she use the information that you have
Yes.
uncovered?
Yes.
And does that hold a lot of weight in court?
It depends on their lawyer, truthfully. But yes, what we work on as evidence is applicable in the court of law, because eventually I feel that when we're also just, let's say, simply monitoring someone's outdoor activities, now people would think, how would that help? But when you have to observe somebody's behavior when they feel no one's watching, right? And so they're with this other person, engaged in like PDA, and their body language suggests so there'll always be a difference in the way you're chilling with your boyfriend or partner versus maybe with just a guy friend. There is always that difference, and I feel that that is what comes about or comes through when we're looking for proofs. And plus, of course, photos and videos are taken of that during that time, so that's given as evidence to these people.
It's also kind of I wonder, as you see a certain client and as you're providing them with information and the case becomes deeper, do you see a sense of confidence return to them? Do you see them become more distraught? How
Like
do they deal with the
validated.
information?
I think truth is very empowering for a lot of them, because some people, they already know. So this kind of validates their feelings, and they're like, yes, I was right. I knew this was happening, and now I'm going to take an action. And they mostly do. They file for their divorce cases, or they just leave the person. For some, yes, it takes a long time to get over the fact that somebody could do that to them. So they do go into that self-victimizing phase, and they will probably not take any action. There was a wife who got to know that her husband's involved, and her husband actually was not per se involved with someone. He just wanted to roam around with women, a different woman. He would not touch them. He would not take them anywhere. He just wanted to take them out to malls for coffees, for shopping, spend his money, and that's what he was doing. Now, he was, of course, cheating on his wife, right?
Yeah.
Because the wife knew nothing about it. The husband, one of the people, actually, they caught our investigators spying on them. So he went to that person, to the husband, and said that I see that someone's doing this. So
Yeah.
he actually came to us because he spoke to us through our investigator, and he said, I'm going to, sue you for this. And what is it that you're doing? We called him to our office, made him sit down. We said, this is the proof that we have. Ab, you tell us, what do you want us to do? You want us to go tell this to your wife? Or, is there something why were you doing this? He explained all of that. He went and he went ahead and he told his wife himself. And they reconciled, and everything was okay between them, because the wife said that you were honest to me about this, at least.
Stop.
And she actually went back with him, and they're together still. They still are together.
And
So
he stopped.
he stopped.
Okay.
He
He
stopped.
stopped shopping.
He stopped shopping.
There was no
Never
window
again.
shopping. No window shopping.
It's so
What a
sad.
weird
Yeah.
thing to
And
be excited
that came
about.
for her, like when she was talking to us. It was because she had two children. Her parents could not help her with the life that this guy was. So she decided to give a second chance to him. A lot of people give these second chances because they feel that they won't be able to manage it all by themselves. They have feeling of doubt that whether we are going to be able to live the same life or not. So
Yeah.
the same thing happened with her.
So, do you think this cheating is forgiven more in relationships where there is a financial
To a
gap?
large extent.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, this some people are manipulated so easily that
Yeah.
they just are manipulated into that situation again and again, and they just decide to give in. It's not so much about finances there or anything, but they just decide to give in because they say it's okay, we can fix him. Now,
Yeah.
that's something girls have to stop.
And what are the most common excuses that cheaters give?
The most absurd was I wanted to cuddle, like I
Right,
mentioned.
of course,
Love
that's
it.
fucked.
Yeah, so I think a lot of times for women, when they cheat, it's been observed, like at least from the work that I get, that it is emotional, distance,
Intimacy, okay.
intimacy that they feel, and then they don't feel respected enough, and then they step out and they feel that this man's not doing me any good, so no. And for men, it's mostly been, honestly, like physical intimacy tops it. They feel that they're not satisfied the way they'd want to be. And also, a lot of men, like long hours at their workplace, they just end up, it's a pattern. It's statistically true that a lot of men, especially in hospitality industry, aviation, I mean, there are a lot of men, because of the long working hours and the travel and the time that they're spending, they would end up, just cheating on their partners.
Are there professions like you said, hospitality
Yeah.
and aviation?
Media, hospitality,
Media
aviation.
as in-
Yeah.
Not content creators.
No, not
I'm
content
not dating
creators.
a content creator. Watch out.
No, but that's the big misconception, right? People think, again, because every time you go back home, your family or friends will ask you, tell us the Bollywood gossip. Everyone's in an open relationship.
Yeah.
I've heard that this one
Yeah.
is sleeping
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
this one and
Yeah.
going around with this one.
Yeah, Reddit obviously doesn't help. There's
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is that actually I've been more scandalized by stories within Delhi, within normal families.
Yeah. Bangalore has the highest number of cases that come to us. Bangalore,
Oh.
Delhi, Kolkata, a lot of places. So it's just that Bollywood comes under the radar, right? And people just know. And again, content creators and influencers or Bollywood people, their lives are out in the open. So that's why. But it's something that just commonly happens in anybody's life, any strata, any life. It just happens, Yeah. They just don't get so publicized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
I feel like there's like some professions, if like you told me, like, oh, this profession is more likely to
Yeah.
cheat, I would be like, how do they have the audacity? And content creators come in that profession. I'm like, bro, you're taking the girl you're cheating with to a barter meal or some shit. Like, I would be very upset.
Yeah.
But I'm sure for you also, work-wise, like content creation and putting yourself out there on the internet has really helped.
It's helped in the way that women have become more comfortable approaching me, and they know who they're speaking to when, and they kind of know about the views I hold. So they feel that if it's similar to what they also think, it's helped me in that case.
Yeah.
I feel like, and it's all the truth, right? Like I do represent a lot of members in my team are all women. So they feel like somebody would just call, and probably if they call my father also, they'd say, "Nay, but we want to talk to your daughter," and that's changed. When earlier it was the other way around. I've never been somebody who's had a very intimidating voice. My voice has been one topic of, discussion at a lot of places because I'm not all that intimidating when I talk. And but now it's just turned around. I mean, people find confidence and they feel that women are more empathetic and they'd be able to understand it better. So I think the representation in the industry is better now. And social media has been a big part of that, at least for me,
Yeah, because if I was to think of, I'm going to go meet a private investigator, I'm
Yeah.
thinking of like a man with a mustache and a newspaper
Yeah.
that has two holes.
Yeah,
Vyomkesh
and Badsha didn't help, right?
Yeah.
Badsha, main to hu
Yeah,
pagal.
yeah.
Like it didn't help.
So it's
So you
nice.
don't wear that when you...
You're not climbing.
It's right there. Like,
Yeah.
No, but it's nice because again, even say people like matchmakers and
Yeah.
you want somebody who understands your sensibility and understands
Yeah.
where you're coming from.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm hoping that after this episode, a lot of women from our audience are
Girls who are doubting,
Yeah.
and who are constantly in like two minds about the partner that they have, I feel like they should, gut feeling is the first sign. If you have
Yeah.
it, just come talk.
I feel like if I'm getting married, which I'm not, but I feel like I'll definitely hire a private investor like you.
Yeah, but you've
Not
told that
a
now on
private
screen.
It's okay. I don't think the people I'll marry, people,
Are not.
the person I will marry is watching my content. Yeah, people.
Sweet.
Yeah, and then like 10 days so you can follow. More than that, if they've done a good job for 10 days, I don't need to know the rest.
I think that's our fear. Like, okay, if he's cheating, he better cheat with some riz, It
Yeah.
can't be some loser bondu cheating.
Like, please, at least cheat with someone hot. But with me, like literally I was, anyone that I'm with, they can't even go anywhere and be with someone. I get photos. Like my poor ex, 2 years it's been since the breakup.
Yeah.
I still get photos of him if he's on a date. I'm like, they should be part of
Yeah.
your team.
Yeah.
But they have no ethics, obviously.
we open up questions to the room asking if they want to know anything about Tanya. And the one question that has come up is, do you go incognito when you're going to surveil someone?
I've had my team members do that. So I tell you a case which was very recent. A man came to us who doubted that his father, who was 70, was involved somewhere. He did not have a wife, he was a widow. And so the son suspected, and also they were very rich. So he suspected that the money might go to somebody else. So who is it? And he wanted to investigate. So what we found out was that the father would go to a very shady, shabby like area in one of the cities, and he was involved with somebody who he had met while on a morning walk, and she was actually someone's helper. Okay, so it seemed like, okay, he's probably involved with her. So he would go, they would go out, they would sit together, etc. But then we found out that he was also involved with the daughter of the same lady. So the mother pushed the daughter into it for more money. So he was sleeping with a 60-year-old and he was sleeping with a 30-year-old. This we got to know because one of our investigators was planted in that situation as a vegetable seller. So she was right outside.
Yeah.
She was right outside that house for about 20 days minimum, I remember. And we got a lot of photos and we got a lot of videos, and eventually we only got to know of this daughter's angle because she was planted in that situation and she was there till the late evening. So he would drop the mother back and the mother would send the daughter with the 70-year-old to another hotel.
What a
And this
virile
was
old
a
man.
transaction. Yeah. So
That's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah, so that was one of the places where investigators took a completely different garb for this.
Sorry to ask this. She just took like a stall and sat, or like is there
Yeah,
some
it was
license
no
involved? or
no
something?
license involved. It was a very small colony, and again we took some time to understand ki wahan par what kind of people actually come and are there.
Yeah.
So planting a vegetable seller was the one thing that seemed or made the most sense because there was none in that area.
And she used to sell the vegetables.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah,
you're
she was
helping
trained.
a whole society and
Yeah.
community.
And then once she left, I bet if I was in that neighborhood, I would be like, these people.
Yeah.
No one wants to work these days.
Before you leave us, I have two questions.
Yeah.
One is a short question. Who is playing you in your biopic?
I would want Vidya Balan to play my role.
10 on 10.
10 on
I
10.
see
I
it.
love, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be
And
amazing.
which case would you have her follow through this film?
That was the first case I did. I was in college and I was planted on that case by my father with another investigator. Parents had just come to us telling us that they suspect their daughter has an affair, and she was in university as well. But we followed her activities for a couple of days, and for the first few days there was nothing. But then we saw that she is going to this one particular area, which is very famous for brothels and prostitutes. And she was going there with her gang of girls. There were 4 of them, and they would go, and she was involved with people there. Eventually, when we told this to the parents, they couldn't believe it, but they got the daughter to our office. And when she came, she said that she was actually doing that because she wanted to buy clothes from Zara or from
Stop.
brands that her parents couldn't afford for her. So it was never about the boy. They suspected because she was wearing better clothes, she had better lifestyle, she was getting a lot of money, she was giving it to her parents, and they didn't even think of it. That was the first case, and it was a bone chilling experience for me at that time. So that would be one case that I think, if it is played by someone on screen, that would be it.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
If you were not a private detective,
Yeah.
what would you be?
A psychologist. Because
Okay.
I think I've always been interested in getting into minds of people, understanding behaviors, and that would be my second occupation.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
I had a great time talking to
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. You have made my week and my month.
The Reddit sub is coming soon.
Yes, inshallah.
If you liked this festive episode and you want us to do more such hatke episodes, hype this video, subscribe, Go follow Tanya.
On
Don't
all her socials.
and hit her up if you're having any kind of
Yeah.
troubles in your life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.